So we're going to start up with a follow-up on the Freedom Flotilla, which, of course, we promised. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition tweeted out overnight when he reached the Israeli prison, U.S. human rights defender Chris Smalls was physically assaulted by 7 uniformed individuals. They choked him and kicked him in the legs, leaving visible signs of violence on his neck and back. When his lawyer met with him, Chris was surrounded by 6 members of Israel's Special Police Unit. This level of force was not used against any other abducted activists, and they are abducted. Was a breach of international law to detain them. We condemn this violence against Chris and demand accountability for the assault and discriminatory treatment he faced. So JB, our friend JB, tweets out Christian Smalls was the only black person on the flotilla, yet he was the one beaten. Zionists are racist and white supremacists. The IDF also trains the police here. So when we say we're all oppressed by the same forces, you see in real time why. Yes, very good point. We've always said at the core of this is racism. That is what really is at the core of all of this.
Ask the Ethiopian Jews to try to immigrate over there.
Exactly. And like, what could make it clearer than this? This is like, I feel like, a running theme of not only this show, but of the past few shows and probably several shows going into the future is that the Israelis have kind of given up on subtlety. They've really stopped trying to hide who they are at all. At this point, I guess they're just betting that, the ugliest people in the world will support them and everybody else can fuck themselves. That seems to be the bet that they're making. So, Representative Summer Lee tweeted out about this. Chris Smalls, a black American labor leader, was trying to feed Palestinians being starved in Gaza. The IDF detained and beat him for it. This assault must not go unnoticed, and he must be freed immediately. Israel must be held to account. Let aid through. End the genocide. Over in the UK, Andy Worthington, journalist, friend by association of the show. We would love to have him on sometime. Misty had him on her show a way back. Great journalist here, great anti-war human rights activist. Shameful but unsurprising, says Andy. Out of all the prisoners kidnapped from the Gaza aid ship Handala, illegally boarded and seized in international waters, the racist Israelis have singled out Chris Smalls, a black man, for particularly brutal treatment. Jeremy Corbyn, Chris Smalls was beaten for trying to deliver baby formula to starving Palestinians. This disgraceful assault on the Freedom Flotilla is an attack on common human decency. Stop the genocide, end the siege, free Palestine. So one of the great things about doing this little segment...
Just before you go on, for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, and to preempt the Zionists who say, we have so many Ethiopians in Israel, you don't know what you're talking about. Without their knowledge, they gave Ethiopian women in Israel contraceptive shots.
Right.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that specifically to Ethiopian women? What is it about Ethiopian Jews that made them not want more of them? Right. I wonder.
Of course. Yes. So obviously just transparently racist ideology and a racist project. So one of the silver linings of doing this short segment at the top here, because this is more of an update on things, is that I was able to discover this site called Payday Report, which is a great independent website. I encourage you to check them out, paydayreport.com. It's always good to find sources for labor reporting, since it's very hard to find outlets that are like specifically focused on labor issues. So we will hopefully use them as a source pretty often moving forward. So check them out, paydayreport.com. They pointed out something that was kind of hidden in plain sight that I hadn't realized. But Chris Smalls' union president, Teamsters Sean O'Brien, silent on beating by IDF, goes on Vivek Ramaswamy's right-wing show instead. Now, actually, he hosted him on his show. He hosted Vivek Ramaswamy on his podcast. But they are correct, and that is something that I didn't really consider, which is that since the Amazon Labor Union joined as an affiliate with the Teamsters, you would think now that the president of the Teamsters might have something to say about one of his affiliate union leaders being abducted and beaten by the IDF. But they report here, good morning from Pittsburgh. where we are tracking a big story for the labor movement. Amazon labor union founder Chris Smalls was beaten after the IDF arrested him while trying to break the siege of Gaza with the Freedom Flotilla coalition. As a union, we are demanding the immediate release of Chris Smalls and all captured activists, said the 29,000-member California Faculty Association in a statement late Monday. We further call for an immediate end to the engineered famine and deliberate starving of the people of Gaza, labor complicity with genocide, and all U.S. military aid to Israel. Other unions are expected to denounce the beating and detention of Smalls by the IDF. Well, where are they? It's getting kind of late. However, his international union leader, Teamsters Union President Sean O'Brien, has stayed silent on the detention of Smalls, who founded the Amazon Labor Union, which is now an affiliate of the Teamsters. Instead, the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, took to social media to advertise his upcoming interview with fascist commentator Vivek Ramaswamy and his 3 million right-wing followers. That's right. This is last tweet on Sean O'Brien's feed, talking Elon Musk, Doge, and more with Vivek Ramaswamy. New episode of Better Bad Ideas with Sean O'Brien is out July 30th. That's tomorrow. Be sure to tune in. Yeah, that's must-see TV, I'm sure, Sean. But yeah, doesn't it tell you something that not only is Sean O'Brien silent, but we haven't really seen too many statements from big labor unions in support of Chris Smalls. Kind of a sorry state of union leadership, kind of a sorry statement on union leadership nowadays. But yeah, that is quite disgraceful. And where has Sean O'Brien really been this past year? I mean, since the convention, he's pretty much disappeared. He's pretty much gone silent. He went on Tucker's show, and that's about it. So pretty horrible not to even get a statement of support from, yes, the Teamsters president, being that the ALU is now an affiliated union under the Teamsters leadership. But obviously, just another example of Israel just going full mask off, singling out the only black activist on this boat and beating him, scarring him on the neck. Just absolutely horrible. We had the privilege of interviewing Chris a while back when no one knew who we were.
We were tiny.
Way back. Way before he even started the union. That was just when he got fired, about a year after he got fired. So I think they were starting to organize a drive, starting to organize those workers there. But yeah, just absolutely horrible. This is how if you are Israel, you just burn every available bridge. When you commit an overt offense against a community, it activates a segment of the political space or a faction of the political space that wasn't told directly, hey, you know what? They're your enemy. It's clearly a white settler colonial project. It is rooted in a white supremacist, Eurocentric ideology, and a Jewish supremacist one. But even before it was Jewish supremacist, it was Eurocentric. It was white supremacist in its founding. And now you see them just grab Chris Smalls and beat him up. I mean, it's just horrible. And so, yes, we all need to do what we can to get all of these people released. I understand Jacob Berger has been released. And
from what I understand, he's home.
Okay,
what I understand,
so he's home already. All right. So we will keep everybody posted on this.
Yeah. With Sean O'Brien, that's a natural evolution of the union misleadership class. For decades, they've been selling out the unions to corrupt right-wing Democrats like Bill Clinton.
Right.
Where were they standing up against these trade deals? Oh, a lot of our membership doesn't like, they didn't do shit. They'd organize, rally for these politicians that were shipping their members' job overseas. Never took a stand against these Democrats. This is the next logical step. These leaders like to be close to power. All Donald Trump had to do was say, yeah, I like you guys. That gave him enough plausible deniability. And to be fair, and I'm sure the story is true, the story that Sean O'Brien gave about Kamala Harris basically reading him the riot act and telling him, I'll win with or without you. It's not exactly the most charming bunch that would lead you to feel like you need to stay in their tent, especially given that they're not going to do shit for your members anyway. So why not go to the people who don't overtly spit in your face? But it's an older problem than Trump. This is just really taking the mask off. You got an administration gutting the NLRB that clearly doesn't want it to exist, and you have nothing to say about that.
Yeah.
Much less the Chris Smalls thing. Sean O'Brien is just a disgusting disgrace. It's just the next step in these union leaders running cover for power. He just switched which party he's doing that on behalf of.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing this shows you is just how indifferent, or I shouldn't say indifferent, that's the wrong word, how hostile to labor this country is, that the media has been largely indifferent to Chris Smalls being detained and beaten. I mean, this should have been front page everywhere, right? But they're not going to report on it because they don't want people outraged at violence against the labor leader. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. On that front, it's more a labor thing than a race thing. From the Israelis' perspective, yeah, they are vile, racist monsters. I mean, that is what that project is.
They literally were caught sterilizing the Ethiopian women.
Exactly.
Please clap.